There's a divine moment coming into your life, a shift in the atmosphere, where everything you thought was impossible becomes not only possible, but inevitable. God is about to bring you into a season where miracles won't just be something you hear about or dream about, they will become your everyday reality. You will wake up and feel the presence of something greater than yourself, orchestrating the impossible to become your new normal. This is the season where your limitations are shattered. What once seemed unreachable will now be in your grasp. God is not waiting for you to be perfect, for you to be ready in the way that your human mind defines readiness. He's already prepared the way. The doors are open, the path is set, and all you need to do is walk in the confidence of His promise. This is the season of unprecedented favor. You won't have to chase after your blessings because blessings will chase you down. The things that once seemed too far off, too grand to even imagine, will now be right in front of you, and the only thing standing between you and them will be your faith. What you've been waiting for, what you've prayed for, is already on its way. But understand this, God's timing isn't like human timing. It's not about waiting to get lucky. It's about waiting in faith, knowing that in due season, your miracle will manifest. The moment that God steps into your life, the season of struggle, of doubt, of unanswered prayers is over. A new chapter begins, a chapter of supernatural occurrences that no human logic can explain. Now is the time for you to expect the miraculous in ways you never have before. Do not limit yourself to the constraints of your mind or the reality of your past. God's about to break the laws of nature for your sake. Things are going to happen in your life that will make people look at you and say, "This is nothing short of divine intervention." It's time to stop thinking like the world thinks. The world waits for things to happen before they believe. But in this season, you will believe first, and then things will happen. You won't just walk through life waiting for a miracle to come to you. You will step into the miraculous by the authority of God's word and watch as the world begins to align with your faith. This season is for the brave, for those who dare to believe against all odds, for those who understand that faith doesn't operate in a vacuum, it operates in the place of struggle, the place of impossibility, the place of nothingness. When you stand there, in the place where everyone else sees defeat, God will speak life into your dry bones. He will fill you with His power, His vision, and His glory. God is not merely giving you a new season, He's changing your entire way of being. Your eyes will see the unseen, your ears will hear the unheard, and your heart will grasp the ungraspable. Prepare yourself for the supernatural. Prepare yourself for the extraordinary. Miracles are not random events for the fortunate few. Miracles are the language of the kingdom. They are meant for every believer. And in this season, you are about to become fluent in that language. A divine shift is on the horizon, a moment that is bigger than anything you could have imagined. What once seemed impossible, those dreams that felt too far, those goals that appeared unreachable, is about to become an everyday reality. The laws of nature and limitations that have held you back for so long will no longer apply. There is a supernatural force moving on your behalf, preparing everything you need for a new season of abundance and breakthrough. It's not just a change in circumstance, it's a transformation in how the world will interact with you. The shift is not something that will happen slowly or gradually. It will be sudden, undeniable, and powerful. You will look back at this moment and realize it was the pivot point that moved you from a life of struggle and limitation into a life of grace and divine favor. This isn't about your ability to make things happen. It's about God's ability to step into your life and make the impossible possible. Your faith is the key, but the shift itself is all Him. He is moving in a way that transcends human understanding, orchestrating events, connections, and opportunities that will come together in a way that cannot be explained by logic or reason. What once looked like barriers will now become stepping stones, and the impossible dreams you've held on to will begin to manifest before your eyes daily. When this shift happens, it will feel like the heavens themselves are opening up on your behalf. Every area of your life, finances, relationships, career, health will be touched by this divine move. You'll experience a fresh sense of purpose, a new sense of direction, and an overwhelming sense of peace. You'll look at your circumstances and they won't feel the same. What once weighed you down will be lifted, and in its place, there will be miracles happening right in front of you. Get ready, because when the shift happens, it won't just be a moment. It will be the beginning of a season where miracles become your everyday reality. And you will realize that the impossible was never as far out of reach as you thought. The only thing standing between you and that season was God's perfect timing, and now that time has come. God is about to break every chain that has held you in place, every boundary that has confined your potential, and every thought that has limited your growth. You may have believed that you were stuck, that your circumstances would never change, but God has been preparing something far greater for you than you ever imagined. What once seemed impossible, those goals that appeared unreachable, those dreams that felt too distant are now being drawn closer to you, not because of your effort, but because of God's divine intervention. Every area where you have felt blocked or restricted, every door that was closed is about to open. The walls that seemed too high to climb, the rivers that seemed too wide to cross, will no longer be obstacles, but paths leading you forward. It's not that you'll suddenly become perfect or capable in your own strength, but that God, in His infinite power, will make the impossible possible. The limits you once saw as immovable are being shattered by His mighty hand, and in their place, new opportunities and possibilities are being created. God is not asking you to be perfect before He moves in your life. He is moving because of His grace and His power. All He requires is your willingness to believe and to step forward in faith. The road may not always be smooth, but it will always lead to your victory. The struggles you've faced in the past were never meant to defeat you. They were meant to position you for the breakthroughs that are now coming your way. What was once far out of reach, what seemed like it would never happen, is now being brought near. In this new season, things that once seemed beyond your ability will now be within your grasp. You won't have to struggle or strive for them as you once did. The divine favor of God will bring them to you, and your life will become a reflection of His goodness, His provision, and His perfect timing. Every setback, every moment of frustration has been leading up to this divine moment where the gates of heaven are opened wide and blessings begin to pour out on you without measure. The things that were once impossible are now becoming possible, not because of your ability, but because of God's extraordinary power at work in your life. This is the season where barriers are broken, limitations are erased, and your potential is fully realized. What once felt like a distant dream will soon be your daily reality. You will no longer look at your situation through the lens of impossibility. You will begin to see it through the lens of God's limitless power, knowing that there is no mountain too high and no valley too deep that He cannot bring you through. This is the season of extraordinary favor, a time when the heavens themselves will open over you and shower blessings that surpass your understanding. Favor will no longer be a distant hope, but a daily reality that follows you, surrounds you, and goes before you. God is about to do in your life what no human effort, no amount of striving could ever accomplish. He will cause doors to open, connections to form, and opportunities to emerge in ways that are beyond anything you could have imagined. In this season of favor, you won't have to chase after success, wealth, or recognition. You won't have to fight for what belongs to you because God's favor will cause blessings to chase you down. They will pursue you relentlessly, track you down, and overtake you in such a way that others will be amazed. You will find that things that used to be a struggle will now flow easily. Things that once took years to achieve will happen almost effortlessly, and the people you need to help you fulfill your purpose will show up right when you need them. The favor of God isn't something that can be earned or manipulated. It's a gift freely given because of His love for you and His divine plan for your life. And this favor isn't just for your benefit. It's to position you for greatness, to empower you to fulfill the calling and purpose that He has placed in your heart. It will elevate you, it will protect you, and it will move you into places that were once out of reach. You will begin to experience breakthroughs that make no sense to the world, but make perfect sense in the realm of the supernatural. People will begin to take notice of you, not because of your own abilities, but because of the favor that rests upon your life. They will wonder how you move from a place of struggle to a place of abundance, from a place of obscurity to a place of prominence. It won't be because of anything you've done to deserve it, but because God has chosen to bestow His favor upon you. And as His favor rains down on you, it will touch every part of your life, your finances, your relationships, your career, and your health. You'll experience success in areas where you once faced failure, and you'll see growth in areas where you once felt stagnant. This favor is not just for a moment, it's for a season where you are positioned for everything that God has promised you. The favor of God will open doors that no man can shut and will close doors that no man can open. You'll find yourself in places and situations that you never thought possible, and they will become your new normal. As the favor of God surrounds you, you'll know that it's not about your strength, your intelligence, or your connections. It's about His grace, His goodness, and His divine timing. You are stepping into a season where the blessings you've been waiting for will be given to you, not because of what you've done, but because of what He is doing in your life. And as you walk in this divine favor, you will realize that God's plans for you are far beyond anything you could have planned or hoped for. What you have prayed for, what you have longed for, is already on its way to you. It's not a matter of if, but when. The delays, the setbacks, the moments of doubt and discouragement, all of it has been part of the process that has prepared you for this very moment. God has been working behind the scenes, even when you couldn't see it, aligning everything in your life perfectly. Every tear, every moment of frustration has been a seed planted in the soil of your future, and now it's time for the harvest to come. Understand this: God's timing is not your timing. What feels like a delay is not a denial. God's timing is always perfect, and He has been preparing you for what is about to be released into your life. The blessings you've been waiting for are not being withheld. They're being carefully placed in the exact position they need to be so that when they arrive, everything is aligned for maximum impact. It's not about rushing through life to get to the destination. It's about trusting that God is orchestrating everything, and in due season, your miracle will manifest in ways you never imagined. You may have spent years praying, hoping, and believing for a breakthrough in certain areas of your life, whether it be in your relationships, your career, your finances, or your health. The process may have been long and difficult, but now is the time for you to see the fruit of your faithfulness. The promises that seemed distant and unattainable are now coming closer, and the things that were once dreams are now becoming your reality. You will look around and realize that what you once hoped for is now at your doorstep. God is not a man that He should lie. What He has promised, He will bring to pass. His word does not return void, and every prayer you've prayed, every tear you've shed, has been seen and heard. You are entering into a season where your prayers are being answered, and the desires of your heart are being fulfilled. You won't have to wait much longer for the things you've been believing for, because they are already on their way, moving towards you at the perfect moment. The key is to remain in faith. The longer the wait, the greater the blessing. The deeper the struggle, the more powerful the breakthrough. And when your miracle arrives, you will realize that it wasn't just a random event. It was a divine moment that was written into the very fabric of your life. You will see that every step of the journey, every moment of waiting, was preparing you for the moment when everything would align, and you would finally receive what you have asked for. This is the season where what you've been waiting for is no longer a distant hope. It's about to become a tangible reality in your life. It is not just on its way, it's already moving toward you. And when it arrives, it will bring with it everything you need for the next chapter of your life. A season of supernatural occurrences is unfolding in your life. This is not the kind of change that can be predicted or explained by the natural world. It is something greater, something beyond the understanding of human logic and reason. The divine intervention that is about to take place will make everything you've known up until now seem small, limited, and ordinary. The things you once thought were impossible, the miracles you've heard of but never expected for yourself, are about to become part of your everyday reality. Imagine walking into a space where the atmosphere itself is charged with God's presence, where miracles are not just rare events, but common occurrences. You will see things happen in your life that defy the natural laws of cause and effect, where doors open that you never thought possible, and doors close that you never thought you could escape from. These are not coincidences. These are God's hand at work, orchestrating the miraculous in ways that make the impossible seem simple. God doesn't move in the realm of the ordinary. He doesn't play by the world's rules. In His economy, a little becomes much, a setback becomes a setup, and what was meant for your harm becomes the very thing that propels you forward. You are entering a season where the supernatural will become your normal. You'll find yourself standing in places and circumstances that should be impossible for you to navigate, yet you will navigate them with ease because the supernatural power of God is at work in you. It won't be about your own strength, wisdom, or ability. In fact, the more impossible the situation appears, the more God will show His strength in your weakness. You'll see mountains move, barriers fall, and doors open that no one else can open. Things that you have been waiting for, praying for, even pleading for, will come to pass in ways that make no sense to the world. The very laws of nature that govern life and death, growth and decay, will be bent to the will of God in your life. What was once unchangeable will be transformed right before your eyes. This is a season where you will experience a level of favor and breakthrough that cannot be explained away by logic or human effort. People will look at your situation and be amazed at how you've come so far, how you've made it through what should have destroyed you, and how you are now standing in the fullness of God's promises. And you will know that it wasn't by your own power or wisdom, but by the supernatural work of God that brought you from where you were to where you are now. The miracles that are about to unfold in your life will go beyond the typical expectations of human reasoning. What the world calls impossible will be your everyday reality. When God is in the picture, nothing is too hard, nothing is too difficult, and nothing is too far beyond reach. In this season, you will experience a constant flow of the supernatural, where the miraculous becomes not just a one-time event, but a lifestyle where God's power is on display in every aspect of your life. Your life will become a testament to the fact that there is a God who works miracles, and you are living proof that the supernatural is very much alive. In this season, you must understand that your faith is the key to unlocking the miraculous. Faith is not simply a passive belief. It is an active force that moves mountains, that opens doors that were once shut, and that creates pathways where there appeared to be none. While the world waits for things to happen before they believe, God calls us to believe first, and then watch as the miraculous unfolds before our very eyes. This is a time when your faith must rise higher than the challenges you face. It must rise higher than your doubts, higher than the limitations of your past, and higher than the obstacles in your present circumstances. You see, faith isn't about seeing the end result before you take the first step. It's about taking that step in full trust that God has already prepared the way. When you believe, when you step forward in that belief, God begins to move in a way that aligns with His perfect plan for your life. His promises are not contingent on your ability to see the outcome before it happens. They are contingent on your ability to step into the unknown, trusting that He who called you is faithful to bring it to pass. It's in the moments when you cannot see the path ahead, when the clouds of uncertainty seem to be rolling in, that your faith becomes most powerful. The world may tell you to wait until everything makes sense, until the pieces of the puzzle fall into place, but God calls you to step out in faith, knowing that the pieces will fall into place as you move forward. This is where the miraculous happens, not in waiting for things to align perfectly, but in moving forward with a faith that believes God will align things as you go. This season is one where your faith must be relentless. It must believe even when it doesn't understand. It must speak words of victory when everything around you seems to scream defeat. It must rise up and declare that God is not finished with you yet, that He is working all things together for your good, and that His plans for you are greater than anything you could have imagined. In this season, your faith will be the bridge between where you are now and the miracles that are coming into your life. It is your faith that will move the hand of God, that will open the floodgates of heaven and allow the blessings and breakthroughs that you've longed for to pour into your life. Believing first before the manifestation is the essence of living a supernatural life. It is about knowing that your faith does not depend on what you see, but on the promises of God, which are eternal and unshakable. The more you believe, the more you speak in alignment with your belief, the more you will see your faith come alive and begin to shape the reality around you. The impossible becomes possible, not because of anything you do, but because of the power of God at work in you, responding to your faith. In this season, you will move in ways you've never moved before. Your faith will carry you forward, and you will begin to see things unfold in your life that seemed so distant before. Your belief will create the environment for miracles to flourish, and your trust in God's timing will activate the breakthroughs you've been waiting for. And as you step forward, knowing that His promises are faithful, you will witness the supernatural being made manifest in your life every single day. In this season, you will step into the miraculous not by your own strength, but by the authority of God's word. You will find that the things you once thought required years of effort, striving, and struggle will now be accomplished with divine ease because God's authority is backing your every move. There's a power that comes when you align yourself with the will of God, a force that moves mountains, breaks chains, and transforms your reality. It's not about your abilities, your knowledge, or your experience. It's about the authority that flows from God and into your life when you choose to walk by His command. God's authority is the ultimate force in the universe. It transcends human understanding, and it supersedes the limitations of the natural world. When He speaks, everything aligns. When He moves, the impossible becomes possible. And when you walk in alignment with His word, you operate under that same authority. This is the season where your faith becomes empowered not by what you can do on your own, but by the supernatural authority of God that is working on your behalf. It is God's word, His promises, His declarations, His voice that will govern your life, not the circumstances, not the opinions of others, and not your past failures. The moment you understand that the authority of God is on your side, you begin to walk differently. You begin to talk differently. You begin to move differently. You no longer see yourself as limited or defeated. You see yourself as an instrument of God's authority on earth, bringing His will into reality. When you speak with the power that comes from knowing that God has given you the right to declare His promises over your life. You will no longer just be waiting for blessings to come. You will be commanding blessings to manifest. God's authority is not just for special moments or exceptional individuals. It's for every believer who chooses to trust and align themselves with His word. The more you immerse yourself in His promises, the more you allow His truth to permeate every part of your life, the more you will begin to experience the full power of His authority. You will start to see your circumstances shift. Your enemies will be scattered. The doors that were once closed will open wide, and the paths that seemed blocked will clear before you. This authority is not meant to be passive, it's active. It's a living, breathing force that goes to work in your life the moment you take hold of it. And it's not just for major events or monumental occasions, it's for your everyday life. The mundane, the routine, the struggles, the challenges, all of these are subject to God's authority. When you are walking in His power, no situation is beyond His ability to transform. No problem is too big, no obstacle too great, and no enemy too strong. You are equipped to face everything with the authority that comes from heaven itself. When you begin to walk in God's authority, you will find that you are no longer subject to the things that once held you down. Fear will no longer control you. Doubt will no longer whisper in your ear. You will step into a place of divine confidence, knowing that you are operating from a position of victory because God has already won the battle. The authority He has given you is the same authority that calmed storms, healed the sick, and raised the dead. And when you step into your rightful place under that authority, you will begin to see your life transformed in ways you never dreamed possible. The impossible becomes your reality, not because of your own strength, but because you are walking in the divine power and authority of God Himself. This season calls for you to believe in the impossible, to step beyond the limits of what you can see and understand, and trust in the unseen workings of God. It's about daring to trust that even when your eyes cannot perceive the path ahead, God is already working behind the scenes to make a way where there seems to be no way. You are being invited into a realm where your faith is not anchored in the visible, but in the promises of God that transcend the natural world. The more you embrace this belief, the more you will find yourself experiencing a reality that is governed by God's supernatural power, where nothing is beyond reach and where the impossible becomes a daily experience. Faith in the impossible requires you to move past what makes sense to the world. It demands that you let go of the limits of human understanding and embrace a God who operates far beyond the constraints of time, space, and reason. What seems improbable to the human mind is merely a canvas for God to display His glory. It's easy to believe in what we can see, in what makes sense to our understanding, but it's in the impossible, those moments that stretch our faith beyond comfort, that God is able to demonstrate His true power. When you trust Him with what you cannot control, that's when His miraculous power begins to show up in ways that defy explanation. The impossible is where God is most active. When you are faced with situations that seem insurmountable, when you encounter obstacles that feel too heavy to bear, remember that God specializes in doing what the world calls impossible. The greater the challenge, the greater the opportunity for God to reveal His might. Think of the moments in Scripture when God did the unimaginable, parting the Red Sea, providing manna in the wilderness, raising the dead. These acts of divine intervention didn't make sense to the natural mind, but they were a manifestation of God's power at work in the midst of impossibility. And the same God who worked those miracles is alive today, moving in your life and ready to make the impossible possible for you. In this season, you are being called to believe beyond the limits of your own understanding. You may not see the full picture yet, but you must trust that God's plan is far greater than anything you could envision for yourself. When you choose to believe in the impossible, you are choosing to trust in a God who works in ways that are far beyond human comprehension. You will encounter situations where there seems to be no solution, but God will show you that He is the solution. He is the way when there seems to be no way, the answer when there are no answers. Your faith will allow you to tap into that divine realm where impossibilities crumble, where mountains are moved, and where every limitation is shattered by the power of God. Faith in the impossible is not about denying the reality of challenges or pretending that everything will always go according to your plan. It's about acknowledging that the God you serve is bigger than any challenge and that He is capable of working in ways that are beyond your comprehension. It's about trusting in the unseen, believing that God is working even when you can't see the outcome, and knowing that His ways are higher than your ways. As you step into this season of believing the impossible, you will see yourself rise above circumstances that would have once held you back, and you will witness breakthroughs in areas of your life that once seemed forever out of reach. When you believe in the impossible, you are aligning yourself with the supernatural, and that alignment brings with it the power to bring the impossible into reality. It's no longer about waiting for the situation to change. It's about stepping into the realm of faith where you believe in what God can do, even when everything in your natural world says otherwise. This is your invitation to live a life where the impossible becomes possible, where miracles aren't just occasional occurrences, but the very fabric of your daily existence. With God, there are no limits, only the endless possibilities that come from trusting in His perfect and limitless power. In this season, you are about to experience a level of acceleration that will leave you in awe. What once took years, what once seemed like it would take a lifetime to achieve, is about to happen at a pace that is far beyond what you could have planned or expected. God is about to compress time in such a way that the breakthroughs and blessings you've waited for will unfold in an accelerated manner. The process that seemed long, drawn out, and filled with obstacles is about to shift, and what once seemed impossible to accomplish in your lifetime will now happen in a fraction of that time. Imagine a clock where time itself is suspended, where the slow progression of events is suddenly fast-tracked by the hand of God. That's what's happening now in your life. God is about to take the delays, the waiting, the years of anticipation, and turn them into a moment of sudden transformation. This is not just about moving forward, it's about moving forward faster than you ever thought possible. What you thought was beyond reach is suddenly becoming attainable. Opportunities that were once far off in the distance are now coming toward you at an astonishing speed, and all you have to do is be ready to step into them. The things that once seemed out of your control, out of your grasp, are about to unfold at a pace that will surprise even you. God is speeding up the process, cutting through the barriers that have held you back, and bringing you into a place where things begin to align quickly. You will find that the doors you've been praying for will suddenly open. Relationships that once took years to cultivate will now be established in a moment, and opportunities that you've waited for will be presented before you almost instantaneously. What used to be a long, drawn-out process will become a rapid and miraculous transformation. In this time of acceleration, what once took years to build will now be established in a season. What took months of prayer, struggle, and perseverance will now happen in the blink of an eye. You may look back in disbelief at how fast things are unfolding, but you'll understand that it is not because of your strength, your effort, or your timing. It is the hand of God accelerating your destiny. It's God moving on your behalf, making the way clear, and allowing you to step into a season where time itself seems to bend to His will. It's important to understand that acceleration doesn't just refer to how fast things happen, it also refers to how quickly things develop. You may find that relationships, opportunities, and breakthroughs that you've been waiting for will all come together in a much shorter time than you ever imagined. This acceleration doesn't just change the pace of your life, it changes the very way things unfold. It will feel like you're skipping steps, like you're leaping forward with divine momentum. The things that once took months or years will now happen in weeks or days, and the doors that you thought would take years to open will now be open to you almost immediately. This acceleration is a gift from God, but it also requires you to step into it with full faith. You must be prepared for the rapid movement, ready to embrace the new opportunities and challenges that will come your way. You may not have had the time to prepare for such quick changes, but God is preparing you right now for what's about to happen. The season of waiting is over. Now it's time to walk into a season of divine acceleration where things are moving faster than you can keep up, but in the best possible way. What you've been waiting for will suddenly show up on your doorstep, and you'll wonder how it all happened so quickly. But the key is to stay in alignment with God's purpose for your life and trust that He has already lined up everything you need to move forward at the speed of His will. The miracles you've longed for, the breakthroughs you've prayed for, the opportunities you've dreamed of, all of these are coming to you faster than you ever thought possible, and the only thing you need to do is receive them with open arms, ready to step into the future that God has already set in motion for you. You are entering into a season of unprecedented favor. This is not the kind of favor that is earned through effort or obligation. It is the divine kind of favor that rests upon you because of who you are in Christ. This is the favor that goes before you, that opens doors that no man can shut, and that places you in positions where you would never expect to be, all because God has chosen to bless you with His unmerited grace. The favor of God is not based on your qualifications, your status, or your achievements. It is based solely on His goodness and the calling He has placed upon your life. This season will be marked by an outpouring of favor that will leave you speechless. It's the kind of favor that will cause people to favor you even when you don't deserve it, even when you have no reason to expect it. It's favor that transcends human understanding. People who once overlooked you will now seek you out. Opportunities that once passed you by will now find their way to you. You'll find doors opening in places you never thought you could enter, and the favor of God will position you in the right places at the right times, even in situations where you thought you had no chance. What this favor means is that God is orchestrating your life in ways that are beyond your control. He is setting things up for you in a way that, when you look back, you will see His hand in every detail. The connections you make will not be random, but divinely appointed. The moments of favor you experience will not be coincidences, but divine interventions. In this season, you will be walking in a kind of divine alignment where everything you need is being supplied ahead of time. The resources, the opportunities, the connections, and the breakthroughs are all coming together at the exact right moment. You will no longer have to struggle to make things happen on your own. God will make things happen for you. Favor is not something you can earn, but it is something you can expect. It is the atmosphere of grace that surrounds your life, causing people to see you in a new light and opening doors that were previously closed. This is not about your own efforts or striving. This is about trusting in God's ability to position you where you need to be. You will find that the obstacles that once stood in your way will be removed simply because God is favoring you. What once seemed impossible will now be made possible because of the divine favor that is at work in your life. In this season of favor, you will experience a shift that accelerates your progress. The things you've worked for, prayed for, and waited for will suddenly be released into your life with ease. The favor of God will cause you to move from a place of lack to a place of abundance. It will elevate you to new heights and open doors of opportunity that you thought were out of reach. The favor you walk in will cause things to come together in a way that is beyond your natural understanding. What used to take years to achieve will now happen in a fraction of the time. The things you have prayed for will manifest quickly because the favor of God is working in your favor. This divine favor will also carry with it the ability to bless others. As you receive God's favor, you will be in a position to extend that favor to others. You will be able to speak life, encouragement, and blessing into the lives of those around you. The favor that is upon your life will not just be for your own benefit, but will be a testimony to others of the goodness and faithfulness of God. You will be a conduit of His grace, blessing others with the favor you've received, and they too will begin to experience the power of God's favor in their lives. As you walk in this season of unprecedented favor, remember that it is not by your own might or power, but by the Spirit of God that this favor is being released. It is a season where the blessings of God are flowing freely, and all you have to do is walk in faith, trust in His timing, and be ready to receive the abundance that He has in store for you. No more striving, no more working in your own strength, just the favor of God that opens doors, brings increase, and sets you up for a life of miraculous breakthroughs. This is your time of favor, and as you embrace it, you will see your life transformed in ways you could never have imagined. So now, as you stand on the threshold of this divine season, understand that you are not stepping into it by chance. You are being ushered into it by the hand of a God who has orchestrated every moment for your elevation. You are about to witness miracles not as rare occurrences, but as your new normal. What once seemed distant is now within reach. What once felt delayed is now being delivered. Heaven is aligning with your destiny, and the supernatural is becoming your daily atmosphere. Walk boldly, believe relentlessly, expect extravagantly. Because the season you're entering is not ordinary, it's a season where God's favor, acceleration, authority, and miraculous power are rewriting your reality. This is your moment. Live it like it was written by the hand of the Almighty Himself.